Let's see what will happen when we start completing the tasks. Recall that Susan completed the identifying target consumers in 2 days. So we are going to go to General and put 2 days and put the task is 100% completed. I will see the task will be marked with check mark and the completion time is 2 days. She developed the draft questionnaire in 9 days. She pilot tested the questionnaire in 19 days. We can actually see the tracking Gantt chart with the actual completion durations versus baseline durations. If you go to tracking Gantt, I can see that identify target consumers was scheduled for 3 days but was actually finished in 2 days. The gray line shows our baseline time. The blue line shows the actual time. In the same way, I can see the baseline times for developed draft questionnaire and pilot test questionnaire. Now we have to enter Susan's travel expense, $3,000, which she submitted after she returned from the pilot testing the questionnaire. To do that, we need to go to the task usage. So you go to View, Task Usage, and then you click on Travel Expense right below Susan. In the travel expense, we have the General window. You need to go to Tracking window. In the Tracking window, put the actual cost of the expense, 3,000, and then put that the work is 100% completed. Click OK. Let's go back to the tracking Gantt. Cost information within Microsoft Project is calculated based upon the status date of the project. Susan's third task, pilot test questionnaire, was supposed to finish on February 27th. This is the gray line here, and if you click on the gray line, you will see that the baseline finish was February 27th. It actually finished earlier on February 23rd. To set the status date to February 27th on the project ribbon on the properties, go to the information and open information window. So we are going to project information, and status date, we can set this to February 27, 2018. We are also going to adjust the current date because we are doing a project that has been already completed. The current date is February 27th, 2018. So the current day is the status day. The status date can be set on to the current date or any date before the current date. Now that actual dates for tasks have been entered and tasks marks as completed, Microsoft Project records the actual costs and the remaining costs based upon the status date, which is here. Let's first look at the cash flow report. Remember that we need to go to Report, Costs, Cash Flow. The cash flow report indicates the actual costs that has been incurred in the project, the baseline costs, the remaining costs, and the cost variance. We can see that the actual costs 10,800, the baseline costs 39,600, and the remaining costs are 28,020. The cost variance is 780 positive. This is because Susan finished the 3 tasks earlier. So we are paying less in labor costs, or we are under budget. Now let's select the Task Cost Overview report. Go to Report, Costs, Task Cost Overview report. This report shows cost status, distribution, and details for the top-level tasks in the Consumer Market Study project. The actual costs in blue, the remaining costs in orange, and the total costs. The baseline costs and the cost variance for the top-level activities displayed. Actual costs for the questionnaire, remaining costs, the baseline costs, and the cost variance. Recall that Susan finished each of the tasks 1 day earlier. The cost variance indicates that the project is currently operating under budget. Next, we would like to see the cost variance table for different tasks. To do that, first we need to go to the Tracking Gantt, and from the Tracking Gantt, click on Tables and select Cost. This table provides the cost, total cost, baseline cost, and the cost variance for each of the individual tasks. So we can see how exactly the completion of the task and the cost for each task perform compared to the baseline. For each task, this table provides information about total, baseline, actual, and remaining costs along with any variances. The Tracking Gantt chart displays a pair of bars for each of the tasks. The gray line shows the baseline, the blue line shows the actual cost. The actual time of the task. The baseline time is with gray, the blue line is for the actual time, the duration of the task. The costs are in the table. Now we will generate the cost variance table for the resources. To do this, we need to view the resource sheet by going to View Resource Sheet. And now from Tables, we will click on Costs. Here we can see the actual baseline cost and the variance for Susan and how much remaining budget we have for her. In addition, we can see the costs for different materials, in particular the travel expenses. We have budgeted $3,000. The actual cost was $3,000, and we don't have anything remaining for the travel expenses.